want to welcome
Okay,
everybody that's joining us right now. My name is Deanna Thompson, and I am the Executive Director and founder of Luxury Resale Association. And welcome to the Quarterly Luxury Resale Report. We're going to get started in just a minute. We're going to let more people come in, but please feel free to post any questions that you have in the little chat bot to the right or below you or whatever it is of what you're on. We really want this to be interactive. This industry is ever changing. So now's your chance to get all of your questions answered, and we'll be as honest as we possibly can.
Where do you see the questions?
Okay, so you click on chat.
I see the bottom chat.
Okay, see, click on chat and a box will come up to the right. So when somebody posts here,
I should have called my son first.
It's okay. I'm on Zoom all the time. So
Deanna, you guys, there's actually a Q&A feature since we're doing a webinar. So the way we would do it is that we would open up a question and then you would either answer it or dismiss it. There will be a queue for it.
Oh, look at that, Q&A. See, yeah. I don't know everything.
Welcome.
So we should pull that up too. No open questions. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I just like the chat. I'm used to the chat. So
I'm challenged.
Oh, I see.
Again, thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to talk about really what's going on in the industry right now. I did see that today Entropy posted their 2024, not the resale report. What's it called? Their oh my God.
State of the Fake?
State of the Fake, sorry.
Yeah, it was fake something. Yeah.
Yeah, which I find to be very interesting because I used to work there. But the only thing I don't like about things like this, like reports like this, is they're very skewed to that company. So with Entropy, it's a little bit different because they get items from all over the world. But like, you know, Rebags report, Fashion File report, the Real report, that's singular to their business. But I don't know, they're always interesting to read. And I'll post this in the chat in case anybody wants to see it. And then, okay, we'll get started here. Again, my name is Deanna Thompson, and I'm the Executive Director of the Luxury Resale Association. Some of you may know me through Closet Full of Cash, but we built something new because this industry needs it. It needed a platform for everyone to be a part of a community, to get education, just learn and grow. And that's what we're doing with the Luxury Resale Association. My right-hand person, I would say, and the person I value and trust probably the most is New Duong with News Clues. See, I get your Instagram and everything mixed up. So New knows how to authenticate. She's been in the industry for what, you know what, let her explain and introduce herself. New.
Oh no. Okay, all right. Hi guys. My name is New, like your new friend. I have worked in luxury authentication space, spanning from e-commerce with the likes of the Real. I was there pre-IPO, and I just, you know, once the company went public, I began consulting, and I've been consulting with large e-commerce marketplaces globally. Within resale, I've worked with mom and pop resale boutiques. I've worked with luxury consignment players all across the globe, essentially, doing everything from authentication training to fair market valuations. I've appraised over $50 million worth of luxury handbags for a company. And during that appraisal, I uncovered like a ton of counterfeits, very scandalous. I've consulted with government agencies and appraised some of the counterfeits from some of your favorite Real Housewives. Yeah, it's been a very like juicy, fun, spicy little career I've had. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks, Deanna.
Of course. And New also has within our community on Slack, she has a separate channel that she runs to authenticate items that people post. So if that's a service that you need, it is an add-on service. but it's invaluable. Next, I would like to introduce the founder of the Lavish Loft, Nisa and Lisa. Please say how to. I've had a day today. How to pronounce your last name correctly?
Oh, Netz.
Netz. Okay,
Yes.
so Lisa, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lisa Netz. I am the owner of the Lavish Loft. I bought my business partner out right around COVID, and we are going into our 9th year. We sell mid to high end, and yeah, it's been evolving and then changing. And honestly, this is a great business that you just have to roll with a little bit.
And where are you located?
Haddonfield, New Jersey.
Okay, and then next is Anne Marie with Elite Repeat. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Jameson, and I am the owner of Elite Repeat Consignment Boutique. We're in New City, New York. We actually, funny, we're going into our 9th year as well.
Congrats.
So what a coincidence. Congrats to you.
Thank you.
We also are mid to, luxury brand consignment, and I am currently opening a thrift store as well. So that's very
Wow.
exciting. So now we have the retail brick and mortar. I have a showroom for luxury items, which consist of mostly clothing. The bags stay in the brick and mortar, and we're doing a thrift store now. So we're covering all the gamuts. I think it's an important thing to talk about.
That is so awesome. And you know what's funny is it's funny that you guys are both at 9 years, because I met you both when you first started out.
Oh my
right.
God, that's so funny.
That's right. You were probably the first person.
Yeah.
Yep. And then next we have Tanisha Gurley. Please introduce yourself and your business.
Hi guys, I am Tanisha Gurley, owner and founder of RubyBlu Luxxe. I am mainly e-commerce and I do live sales on Instagram. I'm also a seller on Whatnot and Shop Shops, but it's kind of difficult to do lives on 3 platforms. So Instagram is my main platform for selling. I also have a website. I'm also the 3rd person that Deanna I first met when I started this. So it's not just you two, it's me too.
The connection.
Yeah, I love her so much. Super helpful. I could go on and on about her, but she's amazing. And I've been in business just under 2.5 years. I started I posted my first item April 2022. And like Anne Marie and Lisa, I do mid to high end. Well, I would say more mid. I'm kind of trying to go into more of like the higher end, Chanel's and Hermes. So I would say the bulk of my items are more mid luxury. And so just under 2.5 years, and I love it. It keeps me busy. I'm busier now than I was in my last career. And like Lisa and Anne Marie said, it's evolving. And I've only been doing it less than 2.5 years, and I I see it. So I can imagine what you have seen in 9 years.
And then there's
Big change.
Veronica Cornish. She is she's social media and website. She does the marketing and all that kind of stuff, but please introduce yourself and your company.
Hi, my name is Veronica Cornish. I'm the owner of VC Creative Studio. I've been working in this industry, specifically consignment, since 2014. I've known the ropes in-house of a consignment store and build e-commerce department for that specifically store that I used to work at. And then I evolved into the e-commerce side of things as a business and as a consultant for other businesses around the United States and Canada. I not only build the websites for the consignment stores, but I am good with the integration between Liberty or any consignment software that they use, so that we can build like a very robust navigation on the websites with filters and all of that thing. And then after the websites are completed, I also offer online marketing and e-commerce, support for these specific stores, from daily management to, little things here and there, all in between, and also the implementation of strategies for these e-commerce websites to convert. Anne-Marie is one of my beloved clients. We've worked together for a very long time now. So, and I also know Deanna for a very long time now, since you first introduced entropy for when I was working in house at that store. So that's been a while now. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to jump right on in, and it's always on a day-to-day. This is a topic that is close to my heart, but I see the industry evolving and this issue evolving. So, Nu, let's start with you and authentication in the pre-owned space. Like, what I know, Nu was so wonderful. She put together questions and everything, and I'm the worst at this. What do you see? What are the changes that you're seeing? Just tell us the changes that you're seeing within authentication. And then Anne-Marie, I want you to discuss the issue you just had also.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest challenges I'm seeing in luxury authentication is the increased sophistication of counterfeiters. So technology will evolve, and so do the techniques of counterfeiters. So now counterfeiters can mimic super intricate details like stitching, materials, proprietary hardware, and then also just with the sheer volume of inventory that a lot of e-commerce marketplaces, consignment places are seeing, we're seeing where there's how can we handle the scale without sacrificing accuracy, right?
Yeah.
So, not to call them out, but for example, places like the RealReal, where they're seeing so much volume. So we're starting to see a slip up in some of the handling of their practices. So specifically, a great example would be newer items that have new proprietary technology. For example, Chanel handbags no longer use the traditional numeric serial number sticker in their products. For the majority of their regular handbags items, they use a metal plate embedded into the handbag and has an alphanumeric serial that has a very specific etching on it. And the technique it uses is called dot peen markings or dot peen etchings. And counterfeiters are now replicating that. So we're seeing a challenge with that, where it's like as brands try to increase their technique, counterfeiters are also doing the same. And how do I kind of combat that? Well, I try to stay ahead of the trend. I try to learn everything I can so that I can tell the difference between an authentic versus counterfeit Chanel metal plate, right?
Yeah.
And I do think that it's important to kind of share that knowledge. I always like to say I have the secret sauce, and I like to share the secret sauce with others. Maybe I won't give you everything so that you still need me, but I'll give you just enough to be successful in what you're doing. Yeah.
You know what? I totally agree, because the counterfeits, like I bought one for education purposes. I don't carry these things. They just sit in my closet, but it was a Chanel, the Caramel 19. And I had done a class, an in-person authentication class, and someone had a black one, and we compared it visually. There were zero differences, zero, inside and outside. And I paid like $300 for mine, and we all know what these sold for in the beginning. So it's getting very scary. And if you're new to this industry, you absolutely must partner with a third-party authentication company, and a reputable one at that, because across the board, so I'm neutral. I love everybody and I want to promote everybody. The authentication companies that are out there, everybody's going to make mistakes, but you have to remember that they're all working towards the greater good. Some are better than others, and some just suck, and those we don't talk about because they're not big enough to even, like, anybody can be an authenticator. And I don't trust anybody when they're selling. Like, there are companies I trust Fashion File, I trust Rebag. Do mistakes happen? Absolutely. But as long as that company says, oh my God, we made a mistake, let me refund you, we'll take the bag back, then there's no issue there. It's the authentication companies, when they make a mistake that they don't own it, that I have a problem with. And this is where Anne-Marie is. So Anne-Marie is a part of LRA, and she posted images of a Gucci bag. And Anne-Marie, I'm going to let you take it from here, because Nu and I immediately said it's not authentic.
Right. So basically, it was a vintage Gucci, which are a little more difficult sometimes, because, you know, the quality of the materials are just different from 50 years ago or 40 years ago to now. I had submitted it to Entropy because I mean, every bag I sell goes to Entropy, but I knew that something looked off when I looked inside. Entropy came back unidentified, which basically, you know, means they couldn't identify it, meaning it's most likely not authentic. So I had contacted the woman who, you know, supplied me with the bag, and she said, like, I'm 101% sure that this is authentic. So I explained to her how Entropy works, that they're 98 point whatever percent accurate, and, you know, maybe it could have fell through the 2 point whatever percent cracks. So I had posted the pictures, the photographs of it in our group here, and, you know, ran it by Deanna, ran it by New, ran it by Graham, and we all agreed that we thought it was counterfeit.
Yeah.
That being said, I then submitted it to Fashion Detective, and Graham said, you know, he would write something up for me because the woman was still insisting that Entropy was wrong. That being said, he supplied me with 2 companies, which I won't name, to authenticate as well to, you know, assuage her mind, I guess. So I submitted it to one and it came back authentic. And then I submitted it to the second and it came back authentic.
Wait,
So
hold on a second. I kind of want to name the companies, not to disparage them, but kind of to prove a point that you have to trust your gut when you're dealing with luxury goods. And if it doesn't set with you when you get one authentication from someone, go to another one. And it was, look, I love, again, everyone. Okay. I don't call out people to be mean. That's not my style. That's not what I do. But I want to be honest. It was, and I know who it is. It was Authenticate First and it was Authentic Detective. They're both, again, working towards the greater good of this industry. Do mistakes happen? Absolutely. But even going back a little bit further, when you have someone that is pushing, okay, you've already provided 2 authentication certificates or, you know, 2 findings from 2 legitimate authentication companies, and then the person that is supplying the bag says, we'll use these 2 other ones. That right there makes me nervous, because why are you just not taking me at face value?
Right. So it's very confusing to me, like how, as a seller or a person who's supplying me bags, wouldn't just say, you know what, I'm going to take it back. Like you just said, if a fashion free bag, if they make a mistake, they take it back. You know, she was like fighting me on it. Eventually, she's refunding me for the bag. But I just think, like, this is such a scary thing because we're buying bags from people and we're getting certificates from, you know, all these other companies. So what are we buying? Are we buying authentic or are we not buying authentic? So that's what's scary about this.
Yeah, well, what you have to do, because ultimately this is your business and your reputation. Like, I don't believe anybody. Like, I know the people that I trust, but if I'm going out, you know, okay, number one, don't use one authentication company. Use 2 and use them for different categories. Like if I had jewelry, I would go to the Fashion Detective because I trust his knowledge. Graham's knowledge is, it's like he's an encyclopedia, but I trust him. Okay, if I was doing Hermes, I would go to Open Luxury IO. If I was doing, like, there's companies out there that are really good at specific categories. They offer others, but you've got to find the ones that work for your company. Number 2, these like Real Authentication, Authenticate First, these ones that have been around for a long time and they do multiple brands, they're only as good as the people that are doing those brands. Like, I know Real Authentication is really good if they've ever made a mistake, is they come back and they're like, you know, we got it wrong. As long as they're owning up to it. But when you're dealing with all these different companies, especially a supplier that's fighting you on it, you have to really think about what you're going to do moving forward, but always have multiple third-party authentication companies.
I have a question. So now what if you authenticated with 2, I call them heavy hitters,
Yeah.
entropy and real authentication, or the fashion
Yeah.
detective and real authentication.
Yeah.
And like one comes back unauthentic, and because like for me, at the beginning of my lives, I always tell people all my stuff is authenticated prior to me purchasing, but I tell them, if you want me to authenticate it again, like a lot of consigners that use entropy, I use the fashion detective and real authentication. So whichever one you want to use, you have your pick. One is $20 roughly, the other's $30 roughly. The real authentication is more a la carte. But like now, what if real authentication comes back real and fashion detective comes back not real? Two of my those are the ones that I believe in. What happens then?
Well, if they both come back as
like one and one.
One-on-one, the one that's, I would ask them both. Look, again, this is your business and your name. So I would reach out to both. I know Graham is awesome at explaining, and he'll tell you why. And then I would go to the other one. I mean, you have every right to ask questions or why they found this determination. It's almost not a bad idea to have a third party also that could be neutral, and then it's all about you guys educating yourself also and knowing what to look for. Like older vintage bags, unless you're really dealing in those, there's a lot of, anomalies. Is that the word that I'm looking for? It's it's vast. It's so vast. So as long as you're partnering with, I think 2, 3 is even better. That's it. And it's hard when one's coming back authentic and one's coming back unidentified. You need to, reach out. I would ask.
Go with your gut too, I think.
Yeah.
Because like in my heart, I feel this bag is fake. So, I'm not selling it. I don't care how many people say it's good. So that's another thing. Like go with your gut. Your first impression of something, you're usually correct, I think.
Yeah, I just want to touch on this just real quick before we move on to the next topic, because I know we have a lot to discuss.
Yes.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Anne-Marie. So in this particular situation, the case example here, so the item was actually counterfeit. So I don't know what the other authenticators were thinking or what, but the bag in itself, the bag in question, was very nuanced. It is a vintage style. So I think the issue here is that a lot of folks are just not well versed in vintage models and vintage identifiers. And so that's kind of the answer to your part, right, Tanisha, is that what happens when two experts have a conflicting determination? Well, sometimes people make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes are overlooked by those small details. Maybe the team that said it was authentic thought that this was compliant with vintage, right? But the truth of the matter is the fact findings were that with entropy to back it up, and their science and their data set, what happens is when you compare this specific material, this specific age, this specific model to the same item of an authentic, it does not match. It's undefined. It's unidentified. And that was my findings as well. And I provided, in this case example, I provided side-by-side examples so you can see clear as day why it is counterfeit as opposed to authentic. And I think like in situations where the companies that found it authentic, maybe they thought they just took a glance at it, and in their kind of novice opinion, they just applied an opinion, oh, it's vintage, it's fine. Right. And so that's when you want to kind of challenge them. And in the same way Deanna just said, you have your own expertise and your training and your gut feeling. The same way Anne-Marie was like, I have a bad feeling about this. That's that same gut feeling and expertise you want to apply in every case scenario. So yeah, I applaud you, Anne-Marie, just for standing firm on that, because that was a great example to bring up. When there's multiple parties involved here, who do you trust? Who do you believe? In our case, we had evidence-based support. So
there we go. Lisa?
Yes. The only thing I have had issues with is because when we first started, we only used entropy, and that's actually how I met you, Deanna. And so we've advertised it so heavily that we find that when people come in, that's what they want. And so we have used other companies before when there was conflicting information, and then they've taken it to a different place and it's been entropied and it comes back different. Do you know what I mean? So like a lot of people, it seems, want to do entropy because that's what's being advertised, at least in my area, heavily. If it's not entropy, people say it can't be. And we're trying to educate people so that they understand entropy can make mistakes, and there are experts out there.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
Yeah, and
It's
that's the correct answer, Lisa, is that yes, entropy can make mistakes. And I think the reasons surrounding that is that they may not have enough positive data.
right,
It's a little bit nuanced, but in the same way, because they don't have the positive data, there are niche experts who do, right? So there are specific experts who are well-versed in certain brands, certain categories, certain styles. For example, for me, I love to take on a challenge. So I take particular interest in new emerging designers or highly counterfeited styles. Styles are being highly replicated to this day, to this minute. I take a deep interest in and study for, and maybe companies like Entropy aren't quite there yet because they're still gathering the data. So they may
right.
not have the ability to authenticate it or authenticate it accurately this week, but maybe in 6 months, they will be the number
But
one.
that's what I said before to
Yeah.
the person.
That actually happened to me with a Celine bag when they first came out with the new styles a few years ago. I sent it through. They did not have enough data. I applaud them for not guessing. I have to
Yeah.
say. So, definitely applause for Entropy for not guessing.
That's awesome. So
Mhm.
let's go to another subject. Lisa, what are the current trends that you're seeing in the market?
So we are on the East Coast. We are seeing a lot more people viewing certain brands that used to be the higher end brands like a Vince or a Theory. Now those are the jumping points for us now. Those are considered lower in our area because
Okay.
they're at all, well, we're finding that once a brand is all over all of the discount stores like the TJ Maxx, things like
Yeah.
that,
Mhm.
then immediately it changes in our store because our customers are savvy. They know what the prices are. So we're seeing a lot of people that want higher end things in our store. We're also seeing people tightening up on certain designer bags. Certain bags for us have really lowered in the area.
Like what kind?
Chanel,
Okay.
actually, whereas some areas do very well with Chanel. Our area, we're seeing it in all of the stores because we all communicate, and people don't want to pay even the lower prices for the Chanels. They want from the store now. The ones that want the older stuff, that's different from the current styles. So like I'm trying to figure out because I'm fumbling on my words.
That's okay.
So basically, we're finding that the older bags are the ones that are moving in the
The vintage,
Chanel. Mm-hmm.
like vintage.
Like the classic.
Yes, like true vintage.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what seems to be sought after. As far as traffic is changing constantly with an election year, we're also, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of different types of theft now. We have had, since January, 26 different break-ins
Oh my
between
God.
My God.
overnight cleanouts.
Oh, it's horrible.
Between from Cherry Hill to with a couple outliers in like Saratoga, but Manalapan, Middle New Jersey's getting hit very hard. And Deanna, and you might have better verbiage, but so I had started an Instagram group where people send us information as far as there's somebody sketchy in here, just be on the lookout so that it's real-time information going back and forth. That turned into trying to figure out and detect who the ring of people are that are doing this. And we have figured it out. It's just a matter of prosecuting now.
Wow.
So one of the, I hate to say benefits because it's not a benefit, so to speak, but one of the really positive things that has come out of this is all of the consignment stores in the area really truly work together now. They help each other. We're sharing ideas. We're trying to share, what did you use? There's so many new things to protect yourself on the market. Everything from, the traditional gates. There's now fog machines that go off. Was it 3 or 4 seconds after
I know
the
someone
alarm
who
goes?
has it in their store.
Oh, wow.
It's
I've seen it in
amazing.
action. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I know someone who has it also. We didn't do it because we have 2 floors that's open. So we would have had to spend too much money at this point, but we will. it's not that expensive if you have a regular one floor store.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are using polycarbonate behind their windows, which seems to be the most protective thing at this point. We have videos.
Is everybody leaving their bags on the floor?
No, we all are putting them away, but the issue became not everybody had the space. So some people had they used gun safes, some of them, because they're oversized. Some people put steel doors going to a separate room in both areas. We all in our area actually not only lock up the bags behind glass, but at this point, we're also using wire, because it's just another deterrent. It takes an extra minute for them to cut or destroy something when they know it's all locked. We also have signs up that say all of our bags are secured in a safe, that type of thing. We've all realized that we shouldn't be allowing photographs. So when somebody comes in now and they're videotaping, we ask them to please put their phone away or end their conversation outside, because we also realize that people are now holding their phones instead of like this to talk. You can notice that they're holding it this way and they're recording away around the whole store.
Jesus.
So there's a lot of tricks that sadly we know about now. We identify people that are scoping the place out more easily, and we're sharing the information. And like I said, for us, this is on, we are basically, we're not in New York too much, but it's mostly New Jersey, Philadelphia, and like North Jersey up to that point. And it is unbelievable what's happening, how brazen they are, from blowing a hole in a roof to putting a chain on a gate and having a truck and pulling away and taking the whole gate off. So having this group, I really recommend to everybody. I really do. I started it, but what you can do is when you start an Instagram page, so that everybody doesn't have to send you everything.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there, because Instagram you have no control over. So
I was just going to say,
building things, join LRA, because we've now offer a monthly subscription just to the community. But this way, Slack is 100% private.
right.
Okay, we have private channels in there. You can say and do whatever you want. I mean, within reason. But if you wake up tomorrow and your Instagram is down, all that work is gone.
It is. So what I've been telling people is that Slack is the most important when it comes to all of these types of robberies and whatnot. But when you have something, you have another consignment store on both directions down the street for each other, it's either a phone chain or something that's going to notify you right away.
Absolutely.
And we found that people are really, I mean, I recommend grouping together, you know. We have actually been able to get better pricing and things because 10 stores now want polycarbonate. So the price is almost 60% different.
Wow, that's
awesome. How
I mean,
large.
it sucks, but it's awesome. Well, you know what the thing is, you know, you want to be a part of a community, and it should be the other businesses around you, because there's room for everyone. So I love the way that you guys have come together.
Right.
Definitely Google that fog machine. And what it does is when
it's
you're
amazing.
Trip, it fills the whole room up to where you can't even see.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Okay. Thank you, Lisa. I want to jump to Tanisha because the clock is ticking. Okay, so Tanisha, one of the newer entrants into the luxury resale industry, which is like 2.5 years, but you're like baby of the group. I want to talk about sourcing with you, because I get asked all the time, how do I get product? And I have a million ideas, but for someone that doesn't sell, how did it start when you first launched your business sourcing to now? Like, is it easier? Do you have more opportunities? You don't have to name names or anything, but how has that changed for you as your business has grown?
Well, when I first started, and I don't mean to keep referring back to you because you're kind of hosting, but I found Marquee Luxury. Like, I did a lot of research. One of the things I was very nervous about is, how am I going to start a resale business if I don't have a source?
Yeah.
So I found Marquee, I found Deanna, and one of the advices that I took that you gave me a long time ago was walk into Gucci, walk into Saint Laurent, look rich, put on sunglasses, shop around, even ask them for sales, or, make friends with like an SA. So that's one of the things that I've done. I created I met an SA from, like, let's just say Gucci is one of them. And we have a really, really good relationship now. And anytime a sale comes up, she doesn't know what I do. I don't know what she thinks I do, but going in and dropping $4 or $5 grand, she doesn't ask questions, because they, these luxury, brands, they get very nervous. They don't like us resellers, so she basically knows. I'm like, I need, I got to go Christmas shopping, or, I can't, that's too much money. I need it under this price. So anyway, so that's one avenue. And then again, the way I found Marquis, I found, other vendors. I found a vendor in France and in Japan. And one of the great things is when you find a good vendor, well, for me, this has worked. When you find a good vendor that maybe the pricing is good, the condition is good. I got very, I don't know if lucky is the right word. So I developed a good relationship with a seller from this, from one of my vendors. She happened to leave the company, right? Because I was a good shopper, and, and I kind of like would message her to create that relationship. She actually left the company after some time and went to another company and said, hey, she knocked on my door and goes, I'm with this company. So now I went from having, let's just say, one vendor to now two, because I developed this wonderful relationship with her.
Yep.
It goes a long way when you're kind and personable, and, and you ask questions and you keep going to the same person if they're very helpful. So that's what happened with this particular seller. I would go to her because when she left, my heart broke, because she knew my pricing. She knew my condition. I barely had to check anything when I got it, because I knew she sent it to me. It's going to be good. There's not going to be any, some of the blemishes are not going to, have been hidden, or maybe they missed it, because she knew I was very, very particular. So in essence, I think once you find a vendor or two, and you definitely need more than one. I learned this with Marquis.
Yeah.
Thank God. I was already like in the process of finding the French vendor, and I made, I made friends with this SA. So I had, Gucci in my back pocket, because had Marquis been my only vendor, I would have been screwed big time. So you definitely need more than one.
Yeah.
I also, again, another great piece of advice was look at the sale section on Fashion File, or the real,
I love that.
like I got really lucky one time. I found a brand new Gucci scarf. I think it was like 80 something bucks.
When
And
they
I
had the
resold
Gucci
it. It was
stuff.
brand new. I resold it for $199, and it flew. I wasn't
That's
greedy. I
awesome.
didn't put a huge margin on it, and so I think it's when you find your vendor, first of all, a lot of research. And then if you could create, if you could develop relationships with people, which you can with the company, that goes a long way. It goes a long way. They'll learn your pattern and what you like and your price points, and it makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah. So two things I want to say. So number one, when I told you years ago, get dressed up and go into Saint Laurent, she was going for a mission to build that relationship with the SA. So she gets, the text message, hey, we have this in, to be first. I don't dress up. I like shorts, flip-flops, whatever. I live in California. I don't dress up when I go into brand boutiques, but I'm going just to see what's in there, or maybe buy something for myself. She had a mission. So if you have a mission because you're trying to source, you want to do it the right way, because you only have that first time to make that first impression. Right. And here she's built those relationships. The second thing is Marquis out of business. The third thing is there's a lot of amazing wholesale companies out there. The one thing I will say again, because this is your reputation and your business, ask questions. If they respond and you can build that relationship like Tanisha has, do it, because they will get to understand you, what your needs are, your price points, and all of that. But there's a lot of great companies out there. And even, I've heard of people just going onto eBay and buying something from Japan, making that contact, building that relationship from there, and then buying wholesale from Japan. So right. News raised your hand.
Hi. Yes, I just wanted to touch on that, and I just ask you, Tanisha, because I saw that Lisa asked, how do you filter through who is reputable? Because she gets approached often, and I wrote, oh, the wholesale channel on Slack can help give you pure reviews, which is true. But just out of curiosity, just because you've had such a great experience sourcing different vendors from all over the world, how do you, my question for you is, how do you kind of leverage your gut feeling? Like, what is a good or bad feeling that you get about these vendors? Like, how do you know who's shady and who's legit, right? And who to work with? Or maybe can you share like an example of a good or bad experience you've had?
Sure. So like the French vendor, they use entropy. So once you use entropy, automatically I feel safe that, you know, we use entropy. That's how we authenticate our items. So with that particular vendor, I said, okay, I trusted them, you know, and then not to mention I ran the wholesale company by Deanna and she approved it. So that was with the French company. So that one was easy. And then like the Japan companies, so Japan has very, very strict laws from my understanding. Like they have very, you know, with counterfeit, and they all do in-house authentication, right? So when I found, you know, like let's just say one particular vendor, they like showed me certificates, like we do in-house authentication. This is our certificate. Unfortunately, I can't give out that certificate, right? Because it has the vendor's name on it. So what I happen to do with a couple of them, I'll authenticate them myself. So they do it, right? And they have strict laws. So I kind of have to go by the facts and I guess trust a little bit. But then also when I would shop from them, I would authenticate it, have it authenticated myself. And, you know, none of them came back, you know, unauthentic or, you know, so and I've had clients say, you know what, your prices were like so good. Like and they would say it like on my live, which is pretty funny. And they go, I got a couple of Ruby's things authenticated because the prices were too good. And she's legit. And they were good. And like, you know, so I've never had anything, thankfully. I've never had anything come back, you know, not authentic. I had like one woman, she's like, oh, the font, you know, because everybody's an expert, right? The font is different. Actually, I put it in the channel before, you know, you rearrange things, and you knew, and Deanna, you all said, oh, that's great. It's just, it's foil and it's vintage and that's the way. So I said, you know what? She's not going to take my word for it. I can't say, hey, I belong to a small business group and they said it was authentic. So I think I real authenticated, or I did it through through the Fashion Detective, and I got the certificate. I'm like, hey, great news. It's authentic, you know. And again, it was from, I think that one was from like my Japan vendor. So I've done my own research. I kind of just don't trust, you know, because you say so, you know.
You don't, because, and Lisa, I'll let you answer your question 1 second. So Japan is extremely strict on authentication. They don't, you know, like here really has no formal training. Like we offer it, we've done classes and things like that, but Japan, like they take it very, very, very seriously. Counterfeits still get through. So
right.
Always authenticate. Okay, Lisa, you had a question?
Yeah, it's not really a question, but another thing, after talking to you before about how to get rid of certain bags that are dead stock for you, I started going on Instagram and just scouring Instagram for places in Iowa, places where they might not get pricing like they get on the East Coast, just the same as the opposite. So I've hooked up with a couple of stores that are actually local that underprice a lot of things. They use entropy, and I let them know I'm looking for these 10 things. If you get them in, I will buy them from you, because I know that their prices are always lower than everybody's. And so instead of making $800, I might make $500, but I know that it's going to move right away. And so that's just another direction as well, you know, if you're looking to source.
Yeah, and even, you know, okay, so we have another webinar scheduled for Thursday, and it's women in pawn. I've worked with pawn shops for years.
I have never been.
Oh my God, go to your local pawn shop.
Okay.
Go to the ones that use entropy, because think of it this way. If you need cash right now, where can you go to get cash within an hour and say you don't have any money in the bank? You can take it to your local pawn shop, get a loan for it, repay. I love pawn shops. I have bought the best things there that are so much lower. Look at it this way. You have consignment, which the consignment store and the seller, it's like 50, 50, 60, 40, whatever. A pawn shop is going to pay cash outright, but it's going to be very low. They want to
Right.
get their money out to loan it, so they will deal if they've
I
got
never
a bag
thought of that.
of
That's a
$1,000.
great
Oh my
idea.
God, go to your local pawn shop.
a good idea.
Absolutely go to your local pawn
Okay.
shop.
Let me make that note.
I was
Another
gonna
way
say,
to source.
I was gonna say with pawn, you can also negotiate since they've already paid cash out
Yeah.
for the bag. You can
They know
totally
the
negotiate
bottom.
with what their sticker price is. I I admittedly slept on a really great deal that we had with an LRA member. He had a really rare Christian Dior saddlebag. He was willing to let it go to me at wholesale price. I just said no, just because I was like, I don't need to spend money on another bag. That bag is selling on eBay for 10x the amount that he was offering.
Oh my
It
gosh.
just,
Yeah,
So pawn is the way to go. And I discovered
Okay.
pawn through Deanna as well, because I'd never really never really
Right.
understood it. And then just through Deanna, meeting all her like clients and all like this amazing network of people that she's helped, I'm just like, holy shit, pawn is like where it's at.
Right.
It is. Make friends with your local pawn shop. And if you
Wow.
Oh
need to
God,
know
I gotta have to Google pawn shops near me.
Yes.
okay, so literally
I'll
send
race you
me
there.
Yes, let's go
send
together,
me
Anne Marie.
Yeah.
send me the names, and if I know the owner, I'll do an intro. Because pawn is so much more regulated than like any other industry. So it's like it's on the up and up,
Amazing.
and just the greatest people in the world. So
Never thought of it. That's great. Thank you.
yeah, definitely. And you know, you can source through them. Say, look, if you get this bag in or these bags in, you've got a buyer right here.
Right, right.
You know, so they won't turn it down. They'll
Right.
take it in because they know they can make a couple hundred or whatever.
Right
Sell it,
away.
you make, yeah, which is
Okay.
awesome. Yeah. Okay, Tanisha, I know you've got about 15 minutes and
That
you're
was
gonna
worth
go
tonight.
live.
Yes, I'm gonna go live. Tuesdays
Yeah,
is
so
my day.
Tanisha goes live all the time. Share how your experience is right now going live. How is it? Because you're mainly on Instagram.
Yes.
And what changes do you see with that?
Oh, ebbs and flows, Deanna, ebbs and flows. So lately it's been going good, and I was a little surprised because of the summer season. I automatically expected to go, to be really, really slow. To be honest, some of it is a mystery why some weeks are better than others. And then I see sometimes, like for instance, 3 months ago, everyone wanted crossbodies. All right, crossbody. I couldn't even hold enough crossbodies because everyone. Now people are asking me for like totes, and I'm like, I
It's
have to
coming
like,
into fall.
Big
right,
bags, yeah.
totes. We want shoulder bags. Oh, you know what? We don't want the monogram. We want like a low key. I'm like, oh, you guys are switching it up on me. So I pay attention, and I ask them, and I ask them on my lives, like, guys, MCM is like a nice casual, like fun brand that I wasn't selling before, but I tried it one time. And I had like a few pieces. I'm like, oh, this is a good price for me to buy. Let me just try these. And they flew. I was doing amazing with MCM. Guess what's like super silent now?
MCM.
I'm like, where are all my MCM clients? I was selling them hand over fist. So I just try to pay. So now I'll just either won't buy anymore for a little while, or whatever I have, I'll tuck it away and then I'll bring it back out, because that happened to me with Burberry. Burberry got a little quiet on me, and now everyone wants Burberry. So it's just basically just picking up on it right away. And I'll pick up on it in no more than 2 lives, because I don't want to keep spending money on a brand. And people are like, oh, we're not really into that. We want this, or we want this style. So
Yeah.
it's really about just paying attention. And I'll ask them, guys, what do you want to see? And I'll, they'll comment, or I'll tell them to DM me. Or they'll request in the DMs, hey, do you have any, or they'll send me pictures. Can you get me a bag like this, or, whatever style that may be. So it's just a lot of paying attention. I try to, I specialize in pre-loved. So I really try to get pristine bags at really, really good prices. Like I call it RubyBlu approved. So let's say I get a bag and the seller didn't note, exposed corner. So I'll say, guys, this is not RubyBlu approved. Let's auction it, or I'll give it to you at cost or under cost. And since they'll even I don't like dollar auctions. I don't really like auctions, period. They make me very nervous. But something like that, I just want to get, like, let's do dollar auctions, and people love it. And it'll sometimes things will go for higher than I was expecting to sell it for, because of that exposure, or because of, there was ink on the inside of the bag. So it's just all about, I just pay a lot of attention, and I listen to their requests, and I look at what brand sold the most this week and last week, and things of that nature. I mean, it's there's not like a black and white blueprint, because
No.
there are weeks I'm insecure about my items. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm like, oh, I hope my list, it's okay.
We all are.
And I'll sell 50%, 60% of my list. And then there are weeks I'm happy about it. I'm like, oh, I have new this, I have beautiful items, and it's crickets. I'll sell 20% of my list. And I'm like, so sometimes you don't know the answer. You know, it's about who's watching, it's about the time, it's about, you know, and then one other thing I'll say about live sales is you got to be consistent. Like I used to hate when I heard that, because I'm like, oh, how am I going to be consistent? And consistent's going to take a long time. You know, I'm very impulsive and I'm very impatient. Every time I show a bag and it has a little tiny pocket, I'm like, guys, this pocket is too big for my patience, you know, to be this big. So I'm very impulsive and very impatient, but that is the key. So sometimes people are like, oh, my live, you know, I didn't have a lot of people. Well, yeah, because you're going on at Monday at 12, then you're hopping on at Wednesday at 3. No one knows when you're coming on. But if they know you're a regular show, you almost don't even have to post a preview notification. They know, oh, Anne Marie's going on every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. You know, Lisa's going on every Thursday at 8 o'clock. I don't need a notification. I know they're going to be on. You know what I mean? Yep. So that is really, you know, listen, when I first started, I had 16 people on my live, and I think they were my friends and sisters, you know, so, you know, and then now I'm averaging about 80 every Tuesday. And then again, it goes up and down, you know, but, you know, I went from 35 to 45 for a long time, for almost a year. And I was happy with that. I was selling, you know,
it's all that matters.
Right. Yeah.
Because
and then
my thing is it doesn't matter how many likes or how many people are watching, who's buying it.
That's quality.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then switching it up. People love when you switch it up. Like, even if you have a different background, even if you try to go live from a different location, people love special events, or, oh, they're doing something different, you know. So I find, not that I've done a lot of different locations, but I have done a couple, and you get double the viewers because they just like it. Like, oh, they're doing different things. We're going to get different items. We're going to get different pricing, you know? So yeah, sometimes you have to just switch it up. And yeah.
Can we discuss your lighting and how great it looks?
It does?
Like, I'm trying to figure all that out.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I've spoken with Tanisha several times, and Veronica, we're gonna
it's a new day
for social media in 2 seconds.
Oh, it's okay. I was actually turning my light on because here it's nighttime, so I'm like, I feel like in the dark. I'm in the dark.
Hold on 1 second. So Tanisha has changed her background. She was in a very smaller, darker area, and
3 smaller, darker areas before I got to this.
She's come a long way. That's all I'm going to say. And she's done a fabulous
lighting is
job.
fabulous.
It's very clear. Because as you're talking, I'm looking at everything behind you, and I can see everything clear.
It's a green screen. It's awful.
No, not you, Tanisha.
Oh. Like,
Lisa
I need to call my son to find out how to do this.
Well, I feel like I won, because Deanna was one of the first. She texted me like, "Girl, get out of the damn closet, get new light." I literally repainted this space because of Deanna's. Like, I was sending her pictures out. Look, I'm building the display.
Okay.
Like, whatever will help this whole small business process out, I am all for it. Yeah. And then a friend of mine gifted me my blue neon sign. That's like the best gift ever. I like love this little sign.
It's gorgeous.
So yeah.
Hey, how often do you go live?
So I go every Tuesday by myself. Those are my solo live, 7 p.m. And then I collab with, she's like my partner on Fridays. I go every Friday, 11 a.m. East Coast time. And those Friday ones, they're going good. Like,
that's
people,
awesome.
11 a.m. is like a different crowd. Some of the
How
same.
long?
And then
An
Tuesday night, my solo lives, I really try not to go over 2 hours. I move and groove because I don't want to talk too much. I hate when people are showing an item for a long time. I'm like, just give me the price, just give me the price. So I try to do it in 2 hours, maybe 2.5 if I have what's called a recap, my unsolds. And then me and Teresa on Friday, she's a consignment shop as well. She doesn't have a brick and mortar. She's e-commerce, like myself. And then Fridays, we try to go no more than 2.5 hours. Because usually 2 sellers, you do go a little longer because it's 2 sellers and it's 2 sets of items.
Mm-hmm.
But we really try to go 11 to 1, no later than 1:30.
And how many products do you have that you can last that long if you go fast? I'm just curious.
So on my Tuesday lives, I do anywhere between 40 and 50 on Tuesdays. And then for Friday, we do about 25 each. And then sometimes people are like, hey, what's behind you? Like, if you leave stuff up behind you, that actually
Right.
works because, like, wait, what? And then sometimes we wind up selling stuff that's not on our list. And, you know, it kind of adds on to that 25. But yeah, I move quick because I've watched so many lives, and I was such a heavy buyer of live sales before I became a reseller that I know what I like and what I don't like. And I don't like when you're spending 4 minutes on an item, you're taking forever to say the price, and then you start talking about like the sun and the stars and the moon. Like, could we focus? Could we talk about the Gucci bag? You know, and it happens, right? It happens.
No,
Because, live selling, you kind of, it's like a community, so it's okay to like have a little conversation. But some people, it's too long. So I
I've
try
turned
to
off
like,
lives like that. I'm like, I'm not here to see you talk.
right.
Yeah.
And then other lives start. I don't want to lose people to other lives. You know, I want to hold their attention. So there's little ways. I just try to go quickly. Actually, last week was one of my fastest lives. I did it in an hour and a half, and I think I sold, it was one of my shorter lists. I think I showed about 34, 35 items, and I was 4 away from being a sold out show. And I did it in an hour and a half. Yeah, that was my
Congrats.
first time.
That's
Yeah, so
Wow.
I was pretty happy about it. So it's like, you kind of like get better at it, and you kind of, you know, and it helps when there's no recap. You know, people just like sold. I'm like, wow. They're like, what's wrong with you today? You're giving your stuff away. And I'm like, let's just sell some bags.
Tanisha, I just want to be really conscious of your time. That was such amazing information that you just gave. I'm gonna do the same thing Deanna does, is to literally pimp you out. She always says, go follow Tanisha, go ask Tanisha. So I suggest anybody who's on this call or anybody who's interested in getting into live selling to hop on Tanisha's live sale after we get off this call. Tanisha will still be selling online on her Instagram, I'm sure, and you can see what works, might work with you that she does. But I recommend the same thing that Tanisha did, is that like I scroll through Whatnot and TikTok live, Shop Live, just to see like, okay, I want to see what these sellers are doing that's working and not working. There's some sellers who are just standing around, or they'll take breaks and like, you know, they'll go rummage through some things, like be organized, or
ones that go like this.
right,
Super fast.
yeah. Or just be super conscious of the item you're actually selling. Have the actual product knowledge ready. Be conscious of the designer and the style. And it really is a rare item. Like, don't bullshit and make stuff up. Be an expert.
Right.
Yeah, thank you
Agreed.
so much,
Authentic.
Tanisha. That was
Thank
so
you guys. Thank you so much.
Tanisha.
It was
Thank
nice.
you.
It was nice meeting Lisa. You're badass. I mean, I only know you on Slack, but you're badass. I love it. I got to see a face to the name. Nice meeting you, Veronica. Anne Marie, I hope to see you soon. Is it my time? I don't want to leave. I'm gonna have
your time. You got
FOMO.
a sale to conduct, girl.
All right, guys. It was nice meeting you, Deanna. I love you so much, and thank you.
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye, Annie.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so now talking of social media and Instagram and all that fun stuff, Veronica, thank you so much for joining us. What are you seeing? Okay, the biggest thing I think is, you know, I lost my Instagram account. What do I do? There's ways that you can try to stay safe, but there's no blueprint on only do this or only do this. So what are you kind of seeing in the market with social media, even on Facebook? Like, are more companies or businesses starting groups? Because I'm kind of seeing an uptick on that too.
There's like a channel that I feel that it really works when you want to communicate something to your, you know, because you can post something, but it's not going to be seen immediately on the feed of people, right? So there's like these like sort of like direct, it's called broadcasting. And it's these little like direct kind of messages that you can communicate something and not necessarily be overwhelmed because they can't respond back. So it's more of like informative, you know, sort of like ways of reaching people. But something that I'm starting to see more is automating your posts so that not necessarily you have to be constantly monitoring what they're asking you or whatnot, but like with ManyChat, which is like an app, you can create workflows on ManyChat so that whenever you post something, that post can be followed by a flow, and then it triggers whatever it is. So let's say that as a consignment store, you want to provide value on whatever topic. Let's say you want to provide value on Gucci and talk about the brand, right? So then you can create like a little lead magnet and then post something on Instagram, and then people, what you do is like you're triggering these AI to comment something. So like somebody says, send it to me. So like you can post like, do you want to know more about this trend? Whatever it is that you want to like kind of like tell your customers, then they will comment back whatever prompt you're telling them to comment back. So let's say, yes, send it. So once they comment that, then a DM appears into their messages, and then it will get sent whatever, the lead magnet, a little promotion, unique promotion. Imagine any sort of topics that you can actually reach out to people via these automations. So one is ManyChat. It's been ManyChat been explored a lot lately, and there's one that I love for e-commerce in particular, and it's Postscript, which is going to create, once people sign up to your website via text, then you can create all sorts of workflows so that you actually make and help your website convert. How? So it's product abandonment flows, is browse abandonment flows. It is like loyalty program flows. So let's say, for example, a person signs up and they purchase on the first time on your website. Yeah. Then once they purchase, they get like a little text message saying, thank you for purchasing. Here is $20 for your next purchase. So it's already automating behaviors that your customers are actually doing on your website, but you don't have time to keep up that, as a human being, so that you have these all workflows set up so that they start working for you and behind the scenes.
That's
and then
awesome.
Of course, yes, yeah. And then of course you can automate, just particular messages that you do want to send out. Like let's say for the ladies who do live sales, it's super important. Okay, so maybe they already know Tanisha's schedule, but maybe you don't have one, right? Right now, maybe you don't have a schedule or you're not that regular, so that you can hop onto the app and send them a text message that goes right to their phones. I'm live now with a little link. Hop onto this one and then apply your automatic discount code for this particular sale, So I like those two. And then
what was the second one?
Postscript.
Postscript?
Yes, all together.
Okay.
Those are my two favorites for now. And then today, coincidentally, somebody slid into my DM. It's a company called PHIA, PHIA. It's the founder is Phoebe Gates, the daughter of Bill Gates, with another girl. And what they're doing is, this is in beta testing right now, so nobody has access right now. Only like a few people that they're inviting. They send me this invite, so I want to explore it, because what it is going to be a free Chrome plugin that you install in your Chrome browser. And let's say I go to Neiman Marcus and I'm shopping for a Gucci bag, and I look at it, and then I trigger my Chrome plugin, right? And it's going to show me the same bag, but from a sustainable brand.
Okay, so there's companies that already do that. That's not.
There's one.
Benny,
right. There's Benny, but Benny works a little bit different, because Benny works via affiliate marketing or directly with them. So this is going to become, it's called PHIA, it's going to become sort of like Benny's new kind of like competitor. Yes, and I don't know yet what are the different hooks between one another. So why am I going with you instead of with Benny? I don't know yet what PHIAs are. But it'll be interesting to be looking into the next couple of days and see how they're going to develop that. To make people like intrigued about it, they actually they're raffling a Papillon bag, a Louis Vuitton bag today. That was like the whole kind of like hook of the thing. So it'll be interesting to explore that. Another little thing that I wanted to talk about quickly is about.
So we're already over 5 o'clock.
Right.
Thank you so much. So Anne Marie, I want to finish up with you.
Okay.
I'll find the names of these companies and post them in Slack. I want to do
Sure.
my research and figure out. I was
Yes.
going to type that. Veronica, thank you so much, because we now have 3 companies we're going to get onto.
Yes,
Because I think
super.
we can all use those. Anne-Marie,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, what do you see? I don't want this to run over too much, but
Okay.
like, where are you at right now in business? What do you see for the upcoming months, the market, everything?
I'm similar with Lisa. I kind of agree with everything that she had said. You know, Chanel people are kind of shying away from less expensive bags, and vintage are, you know, much more sought after. Hence, you know, why I'm going into thrift now. I think, you know,
I love that.
people can't afford, you know, all these expensive bags. So it's nice to be able to offer, you know, both worlds, which I love. But what I will say is that, you know, being a brick and mortar, you know, I'm seeing that you can't, you know, if there are brick and mortar stores watching, you can't really just sit around and wait for customers to come to you.
No.
Okay. That's overdone, not happening anymore. So like I'm constantly having to pivot my business. So, you know, like she said, like August was like the best month I ever had, literally. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. And now September, we're like dead. So I'm like, okay, you know, great. Now we're like kind of just on level, on par for what we would have done if we had, you know, average month. There's no, you know, way to like know what's going to happen and predict. So again, we're, you know, seeking with Veronica. There's an app for like live shopping. When we go live, you know, you can like get this company that, you know, she can give you the information about.
Yeah,
Where
there's
you
loyal shops or comments sold.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's not available on Instagram, but we go live on Facebook, and you like scan your tag, and it's all interactive
Automated.
with Resale World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You scan the item and it comes up, and then people could like check out right there instead of having to say, oh, you know, DM me and blah, blah, blah. So it's
Send an invoice. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine doing that.
yeah, it's going to invoice for you. It's going to do all those things. Okay. So, you know, we try to just look into like innovative other ways to make
Mhm.
money.
Mhm.
The market is so oversaturated now. There's so many of us. So like what
Everywhere.
I want to say is like, why are the customers choosing you? Why are they choosing me? Because it's about relationships.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the key
100%.
reason why people shop with you, because they like you, because they trust you,
There's trust.
because when they walk in your store, or even when they log on to your live, you know, you're bright and friendly and treating people with respect and treating people equally. You know,
Yeah.
when someone walks in my store, you know, I think this is super important. If they're buying a pair of Lululemon leggings or a $10,000 Hermes bag, I am equally as kind, tolerant, you know, whatever you can describe how you should be treating a client.
Yeah.
And I make everyone feel as important, whether they're buying $20 pants or a $10,000 bag. And that's what builds the relationships. So, I mean, just keep that in mind, that, you know, they're really coming to you because of you. A lot of times
Exactly.
you are your business. Okay. So
Yeah.
I think that's like a really important point to make.
It
And I
is.
do see that when you build that trust, you know, they will come to you because we're curating for them. You know, I have a wish list of things that a client might want that I don't have, and then I'll you know, go crazy looking for it. That's worth something.
Yeah, that trust becomes part of your branding. So
Mhm.
that's really important right there.
Yep. And, you know, the curation alone itself is worth something. If someone says to you, oh, you know, you're $50 more than like eBay, I say, but look, you're touching it. You know, I've already vetted all the garbage, all the
Yeah.
junk. So look how much time you're saving. There is a value to, you know, coming in and touching it or seeing it on a live and like calling out whatever's wrong with it. So, I mean, all those things are important to point out to people, and however you would word it in your own way. But
Yeah.
curation is definitely worth something. And, you know, the trust factor. And like I said, you being just the face of your business is very important.
You know, that's it.
Agree.
People buy from people they like, know, and trust.
Yeah.
It's not difficult. It's not. I would rather spend more money with a store that appreciates my business than if the same store or, you know, the same type store next door has it for cheaper, but they treat me like shit. I don't mean that.
Exactly.
Why?
Nobody
You
wants
know?
to be treated like shit.
Unfortunately,
There's too many
Yeah.
options.
well,
Yeah.
there is. There's way too many options. So, you know,
You
as
have
you
to stand out.
Right, but that's what's going to set us apart, and that's why we're in business 9 years. You know,
Right.
that's why all of us here at this, you know, seminar, webinar are here. We have longevity because we know what it takes. We know the special sauce that it takes
yeah.
to stay in business. You know, even like money wise, you asked me a question about, you know, how do I like, the question number one, what was question number one exactly that you had wanted me to address?
That
Like
was
reputable.
no. What are some key factors that have contributed to the success of Elite
Right.
Retreat as
Yeah.
an upscale boutique?
So, I mean, just in general, keeping great records, being organized, so important. Realizing that when you're in the consignment business, which I am, you know, that's not your money in your bank account.
No.
You know, I think that a lot of stores, that's why we're losing so many consignment businesses, because people don't understand the factor that that's not your money. You know,
Exactly.
that's everyone else's money, and then they start like just losing control. So, you know, I think like great tricks, keep great records, you know, trick yourself in your checkbook register. I do it every day. I print my reports for what I owe people, and I have a fake check written out dated the end of the year, and my real balance is after that. You know what I'm saying? And it's a trick
Yeah.
that helps a lot of people. You know, just be mindful of that. It's not your money. You'll stay in business a lot longer if you keep that in mind. Don't overextend yourself, and then you know, you're finding yourself having to run away from people. You know, there was a store upstate that everyone thought she was flourishing and doing amazing, and I'm getting all these calls that she locked the doors, like with people's money, with people's items. Like, you know, it's just so terrible. So anyway, I mean, I just think that just, you know, stay organized in your business and you'll be better for it.
Okay, so what's the as we wrap this up, what is the one thing, your one focus for the fourth quarter for 2024? Anne Marie.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I think, you know, just like I said, staying on trend with, you know, what people are looking for. And, you know, I do double duty when I'm sourcing, just like, you know, having constantly new items in the store to keep people coming back. You have to stay fresh, change it up, change your displays around. You know, it just keeps the people coming back. When they don't know, when they walk in and they know where everything is, they're bored. So like change it up. And that's my end of the year every year goal.
And same for e-commerce, list, list, and list.
I know.
Always have fresh arrivals, please, ladies.
Yeah, right.
Super important.
Mm-hmm.
And Lisa?
I knew you were coming to me. It's pretty much the same as Anne Marie. My focus is really, it's about wrapping up the year, saying, where was I and how can I end the year, you know, with a bang? We do a lot of events and we bring people in through the social media a lot. One of the things that I think is most important when you're getting the merchandise is just really making sure that you know your customer. And I think it's just going to be really wrapping up everything and finding new help. Extra help.
And New, what do you
More
see?
help.
Yeah.
What's that?
New, what do you see for the end of the year?
Well, for me, I think like my line of duty, I guess, is never ending. It's just constantly revolving, constantly evolving. For me, I do think that towards the end of this year, I'm actually going to be seeing a lot of new designers and new brands and new styles to focus my expertise on and just focus kind of my expert services with. We're seeing like random counterfeits surface from clothing designers like Sandro, Maj.
Really?
We just got something.
The most
Wow.
outlandish, random stuff that's being counterfeited right now. And, and we're seeing that a lot of other third-party authentication platforms and other businesses are wanting to get into new verticals, like new categories that they haven't been in before, but also to accept new designers. So with that change, my expertise and my services need to change or evolve with it as well. So yeah, so it just means that I need to I need to stay on my toes, essentially.
I think everybody does really
Yeah.
have to be in it.
Yeah.
So great that we all have each other, in this community to bounce all these things off of as well. I'm very grateful to Deanna.
Yes.
I love her. I mean, she is like
Everybody
literally
does.
my go-to savior.
Well, I just think it's important. Like I've always, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. We all love what we do. We all want to see each other be successful, and creating a community around that, I think, is so important because there is no ego here. This
Right.
isn't, this is all about supporting each other. And I think that makes the world so much nicer. And, we just get to do it with luxury. So why not? So I want to get your end of the year because I don't want you to think I forgot about you. So what are you focusing on for the end of the year?
I would love to implement strategies for my clients. I brainstorm with them, depending on what their goals are. Mine are very well focused on e-commerce. So exploring, okay, if your consignment software does this, are you implementing that? So like, for example, a lot of people don't know that their consignment software can push automatically to eBay. So do you want to explore that part of your business? Like just focusing on different needs depending on at what point they are. So I love to kind of like dig into what's trending regarding like platforms and stuff like that. So I will sign up to demos, do them, from Airtable to, how to like move inventories for somebody who has been on WooCommerce their entire life to Shopify.
So you're focusing on your customers and
yes. How do I help them? How can I help them grow their e-commerce business?
Yeah.
And she's
That's awesome.
amazing
Well,
too,
thank you
guys,
guys.
by the way.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Thank you all so much
you.
for attending the first Luxury Resale Association Quarterly Luxury Resale Report. I'm excited. This is the first one we've ever done.
Yeah.
So I look forward to
Thank
the
you for
next one
inviting
that we do at
us.
the end of the first
Thank
quarter
you
in
so much.
2025. And, we have, so coming up on Thursday, we have Women in Pawn. Y'all remember I said pawn shops are where it's at. Next week, we are running out with, and I'm super excited about this, is Wesley Smith. He owns the clothing brand Standard H, but he is very, God, how do I say this? So he loves pre-owned watches and luxury watches.
Oh, okay.
Talk about watches because I need to learn about watches because I love them too. And then next Thursday is Tammy Fan, the CEO and founder of Luxxe du Jour. And then I'm taking a break from webinars for a little bit. Thank you all for joining us. If you guys ever need anything, we're on Instagram. You can send an email, Deanna, to luxuryresaleassociation.com, luxuryresaleassociation.com to sign up. And yeah, thanks a lot.